Your Bachmann Spectrum 280 is a precision-made, full-scale model and can provide you with a lifetime of fun and enjoyment if it is well lubricated and maintained. So come with me and I'll show you how to take care of your new locomotive. It's important that you follow the recommended procedures for lubricating your Spectrum 280 on a periodic basis. Just like an automobile, your locomotive shouldn't be run without oil. Failure to use adequate lubrication on your locomotive could result in a mechanical failure, so please watch and listen carefully. We suggest that you watch the video all the way through first before performing any lubrication. Then, when you have everything prepared, perform the lubrication along with the video instructions. This way you'll be sure not to miss any important parts along the way. Bachmann has designed the Spectrum 280 to be easily maintained. First, get all of the items you need to perform the lubrication. Find a large, sturdy work surface to hold your Spectrum 280. A sturdy table or a workbench will do very well. You can use a thick towel or the top foam insert from the 280 packaging to act as a cushion for the locomotive. We recommend the Bachmann line of Easy Lube Space-Age plastic-compatible lubricants available at your local hobby retailer, but other plastic-compatible lubricants can also be used. With your towel or foam on the work surface, gently lay the locomotive and tender on its side, or if using the foam insert, upside down. We will be lubricating these areas: the gearbox area, the driving wheel axles, the lead truck, outside counterweights, and Baker valve gear on both sides of the boiler. We will also lubricate the tender trucks and apply conductive lubricant on each driving wheel and tender wheel axle to enhance electrical contact. It's also important to know, before you start, that over-lubrication is more damaging to any locomotive than no lubrication at all. So easy does it. A little goes a long way. To begin, put a drop or two of heavy-duty plastic-compatible gear oil into the access port, just above and to the front of the gearbox cover on the next-to-last drive wheel axle. Put a drop of oil on each side of the sprung pillow block bearings, where each drive axle passes through the locomotive frame. Also put a small drop of oil on either side of the ball bearing casing just behind each driver. Moving on to the lead truck, add a drop or two of oil to each bearing surface where the wheel axle passes through the truck side frame. And be sure not to forget the lead truck pivot point where it attaches to the locomotive frame just in front of the lead driver. Also put a drop of oil on the plunger where it contacts the underframe. This will help it move easily in either direction. Finally, put a drop of oil on the end of each axle on the tender truck wheel sets. Remember, all of the Spectrum locomotive's parts and lubrication points can be seen in the exploded view diagrams included in the instruction manual. Double check that you have lubricated all of the required parts before going on to apply the conductive lubricant. Bachmann Easy Lube Conductive Contact Lubricant enhances electrical conductivity and will decrease the amp draw of your 280 locomotive. Just put one drop on each drive wheel axle where it passes through the pillow block bearing and on each driver wheel tread. And don't forget the tender truck wheel sets. Put a small drop on each wheel tread and on wheel axles where they contact the electrical pickup wipers. As a side note, you should perform this electrical conductive maintenance every 5 to 6 hours of operation or as needed. When operating outdoors, under high temperatures and other environmental conditions, there is a lot of friction, wear, and evaporation. Friction is metal's worst enemy, so be sure to follow a sensible lubrication schedule. Now bring the locomotive and tender to an upright position and lubricate the valve rod, piston rod, valve guides, and Baker valve gear. There are many bearing surfaces in the complex Baker valve gear. Be sure to lubricate all of them using a small drop of oil. And don't forget to do the counterweight crank pins with a small drop of oil. And don't forget to do both sides of the locomotive. However, do not over-lubricate. Now your Spectrum locomotive is ready for track testing and many years of operating pleasure and enjoyment. We at Bachmann recommend that you break in your engine by running it with a light load at slow to medium speeds, checking to see that everything on the locomotive is operating properly. This is the way prototype locomotives were brought into service. Don't forget to fill out your warranty card and send it in as soon as possible. And remember, the key to maintaining your Spectrum locomotive for long life is to keep all the parts well lubricated. But too much lubrication is just as bad as no lubrication at all. Enjoy your Bachmann Spectrum outside frame 280 locomotive, and be sure to check out the entire line of Bachmann large-scale trains at your local hobby retailer.